This leg bone has a lump that shouldn't be there.
For nearly 30 years, the label said healing fracture.
Wrong. Let's open a chart.
Patient, a Centrosaurus, apertus, a horned plant eater from what's now Alberta, Canada, 18 feet long, somewhere between 2 and 3 tons.
Picture a rhino that put its whole personality into its face.
One big horn over the nose, a pair of little ones over the eyes, a short bony frill around the back of the skull, with 2 hooks curling forward off the top of it.
And here's my favorite thing about this animal. Centrosaurus means pointed lizard. Not for the enormous horn on its nose, for the little bumps around the edge of the frill. They named it after the wrong horns. Nobody had found the nose horn yet.
Reason for visit: there's a lump on my leg.
The patient didn't fill that part in. I did.
Somebody pulled this bone out of Dinosaur Provincial Park in 1989. Then it went in a drawer.
And the wrong label is not the worst mistake in this file. Hang on to that.
When the bone came out of the ground, one end of it was badly malformed. The call at the time: a healing fracture.
And look, that's not a dumb call. It's a leg bone with a lump on it. Legs break.
So that's what the label said. And that's what it kept saying for nearly 30 years.
2017. A team's at the Royal Terrell Museum, going through the collection, and they stop on this bone.
Quoting the Royal Ontario Museum's announcement here, they notice it has unusual properties.
Which in science is how you say, hang on, that's not right. So they make some calls, and the people who turn up aren't all paleontologists.
David Evans, from the Royal Ontario Museum; Mark Crowther, a professor of pathology; Snezana Popovic, an osteopathologist; Seper Ekhtiari, an orthopedic surgery resident.
A horned dinosaur just got a specialist referral. 76 million years late, but it got one. And here's what makes this case different from every other bone on the shelf.
They didn't work it like a fossil. They worked it like a patient.
The announcement's words. They approached the diagnosis the same way you'd approach an unknown tumor in a human patient.
So, examine it, document it, cast it.
Then run it through a high-resolution scanner and build it back in 3 dimensions, so you can follow the thing all the way through the bone.
Then slice the fossil thin enough to sit under a microscope and go in cell by cell.
Date of birth, about 76 million years ago. We're going to need a bigger line. Okay, this is the good part.
That lump is not a healed break.
It's a tumor, osteosarcoma, an aggressive, malignant bone cancer.
And it's advanced. This isn't a spot they caught early. The cancer had eaten so far through the bone that the team figures it had been growing for a long stretch of this animal's life.
Here's how they knew for sure. They didn't look at it alone.
They put it next to 2 others.
1. A normal lower leg bone from the same species. That's what healthy looks like.
2. A human lower leg bone with confirmed osteosarcoma. That's what the disease looks like.
And the dinosaur matched the human. So let's say what that word actually means.
Osteosarcoma is bone growing wrong, growing fast. It spreads, and it usually spreads to the lungs. In people, it mostly hits the young, the 2nd or 3rd decade of life.
It's the same cancer that took part of Terry Fox's right leg before he started the Marathon of Hope in 1980.
Same disease, same word on the chart, 76 million years apart.
Remember, I said the label wasn't the worst mistake in this file. Here it is.
And it's not on the label. It's on the headline.
That same announcement said no malignant cancer had ever been documented in a dinosaur before. First one ever. That's not quite right.
Back in 2003, a survey led by Rothschild went through an extensive sample covering all the major dinosaur groups, scanning bone. It found tumors, and it found them only in the duck-billed dinosaurs.
A later peer-reviewed paper says it flat out. That survey included malignant forms, metastatic cancer in Edmontosaurus.
And in 2016, A dwarfed duckbill from Romania turned up with a tumor in its jaw.
That one was benign, which is the nicest sentence in this entire video.
So the press release got a little excited.
And here's the tell. The paper's own title never claimed it. Read it. First case of osteosarcoma in a dinosaur. Osteosarcoma. Not first cancer.
That's the real headline. And it's better anyway. Not the first dinosaur that had cancer. The first one anybody could put a name to, cell by cell.
And while I'm correcting things, dinosaurs don't seem to have gotten more cancer than anything else. The rates look statistically comparable to animals alive today. 76 million years, and the tumors are just normal. That's the part nobody puts in a headline. So, we've got a patient with advanced bone cancer in one leg, in a landscape with tyrannosaurs in it.
They don't think the cancer is what killed it.
This bone didn't come out of the ground alone. It came out of a massive bone bed.
That's a thing this animal does. Alberta has Centrosaurus bone beds that run for hundreds of yards and hold thousands of individuals every age.
One of them, over at Hilda in Alberta, is thought to be the biggest bed of dinosaur bones anybody has ever found.
They think the herd our patient was in got caught in a flash flood and drowned. All of them.
We spent this whole case hunting a killer, and the killer's got an alibi. And this is the part I can't put down.
They think that animal was sick for a long time. The cancer was advanced. It would have limped badly.
Something that's slow on its own would have been an easy target.
But it wasn't on its own. It was in a large herd.
And the announcement is careful with the wording. So I will be too. Living in a large protective herd may have let it survive longer than it otherwise would have. Not because anybody looked after it. Nobody brought it soup.
A herd just means you're not the only option.
Nothing picked it off. It kept going until the water came.
There's one question this bone won't answer.
Did it spread in people? This cancer goes for the lungs.
All the team will say is that it may have spread to other systems before death.
May have. That's the whole sentence. That's as far as the bone goes. But the lump we can close.
Diagnosis: osteosarcoma.
76 million years late, somebody finally wrote it down. And it's still going. Remember that Romanian duckbill, the one with the benign tumor in its jaw?
In 2025, a team went at that same species with protein chemistry instead of scanners. Turns out protein locked inside bone holds up a lot better than genetic material does. And in there they found structures that look like red blood cells.
Look like they're careful about that word. And so am I.
Because the people who do this work think there are more cases sitting in museum drawers right now. Nobody's gone back at them with the new tools.
Somewhere there's another lump with the wrong label on it.
That bone was in the drawer the whole time. It didn't need a new dig. It needed a different question.
So here's my question for you. What else is sitting in a drawer right now? With the wrong label on it, tell me down below.
Next time, a dinosaur that spent decades accused of eating its own babies.
Subscribe and keep your facts straight with Stick and Bones.